Good evening, beautiful peoples. I just wanted to come on here today to make a video in relation to the new Kendrick Lamar Squabble Up video that came out yesterday and has the internet in a frenzy. That along with the news that Drake decided to sue the record label UMG and Spotify over Not Like Us, thinking that there's bots and inflated numbers and shit, which is a whole nother video, but that I don't want to get too far into. You guys can go argue about that on Twitter. Today I want to talk about one specific Easter egg that is the most interesting to me out of the Squabble Up video by Kendrick Lamar. So if you're unfamiliar, Kendrick Lamar released a brand new album out of the clear blue sky last week called GNX, and it's kind of got the internet going crazy. Everyone's talking, and then a couple days go by and boom, now we got the Squabble Up video. And the Squabble Up video, to me, is very much a continuation of what he was doing with the Not Like Us video. It's framed in a similar way in a room, and then it just starts unpacking all the Easter eggs. And what I'm gathering from what it all represents is all the things in Black culture that played a part on maybe that influenced culture or Kendrick's career. And there was a bunch of different ones. I'm not going to rifle all of them. There was, Ice-T video, Nate Dogg CD. There was the Scraper Bikes guys doing out there on the Scraper Bikes. You had Isaac Hayes, all this stuff. The Roots, Next Movement. It was a similar framing. But the one I want to talk to today was Isaac Hayes' Black Moses. So if you notice in the video, at one point, a black man appears to be standing in like a robe with the hood on and sunglasses. And what that is a representation or an homage to Isaac Hayes' fifth studio album called Black Moses. Now, the reason I wanted to focus on that one is because Isaac Hayes is fresh in my brain right now. Earlier this year, I read a biography on Stax Records called Respect Yourself. And if you're unfamiliar with Stax Records and its history, it was a record label comparable to Motown that was in Memphis in the South at the time. And so they had to go through quite a bit of struggles, a lot different than what you had here in Detroit, which was, you had quite a mixed bag of people, but in the South it was still very segregated in the times that Stax rose to prominence in the 60s and 70s. So over in Memphis at Stax Records, it was illegal for white businesses to segregate or to integrate with black folks. So Stax Records was literally the only business in the Memphis area that was hiring black folks, and the business was owned by white folks. So Stax Records was always a big melting pot of musicians. And it was unlike anything else because you had white and black people in the same bands recording all this amazing music. You had Isaac Hayes was in the house band there. But you had like Otis Redding and all these big artists recording there in this interesting, unique business. Now, Isaac Hayes was kind of like, man, he was the glue to the house band, really. He was a jack of all trades. Isaac Hayes was a very talented multi-instrumentalist, singer, writer, and did a lot of things for that record label. It's actually kind of interesting because they would record music there together and then they wouldn't be able to go and perform it at any of the establishments because integrated bands couldn't play out in these places. So it's just a super weird time, for culturally speaking, for America, and socially speaking, I guess I should say, for America. But anyways, Black Moses, which is what was featured in Kendrick's video, was Isaac Hayes' fifth studio album recorded there in 1971, like I said. And this album cover would feature him kind of with this, robe hood on with these big aviator sunglasses. And it was interesting because Isaac Hayes, to me, and this is something that we brought up on our podcast a lot, I feel like he kind of ushered in hip hop aesthetics. Like there's a case to be made for him kind of influencing the style of hip hop, because on his previous album, Hot Butter Soul, it featured him wearing big old gold chains with a shaved head, close up on his shaved head, and there wasn't a lot of men wearing their hair that style with the the shaved look all the way because you could see his head. It was a much more reserved and conservative time for the content of music and what you were allowed to get away with on the art covers and in the messaging in the music and what you were saying. So Isaac Hayes kind of led the way with that. And then the other interesting tidbit that I thought about with Isaac Hayes in relation to this is Isaac Hayes was known at his live shows for doing what they would call Isaac's rap, where he was known to speak to the audience over music being played in the background. He wasn't singing, he was just speaking. So they would call it Isaac's rap, and they started putting it on his albums. It's on Black Moses, it's on Hot Buttered Soul. And so that was like the first time that that term was coined in popular music. Obviously, he wasn't making rap music that we know today. He wasn't making hip hop that we know today, but that term was coined on his albums and at his shows and stuff. So I thought that could be another reason why maybe Kendrick was inspired by that. And then also the fact that Black Moses on vinyl was released as a double disc, and that could play into what people have been alluding to with Kendrick's new album being 2 parts, that there could possibly be another one coming. And that would be interesting because the Nate Dogg G-Funk was also featured on the video, and that's also a double disc. So there is some things there. There's definitely a ton of Easter eggs to unpack in Kendrick's new video for Squabble Up. It's one of my favorite things about what he does is he gives the fans so much entertainment with his music. Like there's so much to unpack, there's so much to look up and try to dive into. And as a music nerd, I personally really love that. I think that's really exciting for me to listen to. So that's just kind of what I had for you today. But it was just interesting because Black Moses was a term that was coined in Stax Records by Dino Oneward, who was an executive there. He would call Isaac that because of his look. And at first, Isaac Hayes didn't like the nickname because he was a very religious person and he thought it was like sacrilegious to like play with the Bible like that. But then he would later have a change of heart and see Black Moses as a representation for a strong black man. And he would say that he would later determine it as a black pride term and a way to express black masculinity, because here you had Hayes, he would wear chains on his body and live shows, like gold chains across his body, and he would coin that as we were once enchained by our oppressors and now we wear chains as a way to take the power back, kind of thing. And that has definitely leaked into hip hop aesthetic. That's in every rapper's persona, is the jewelry and stuff like that. So that's definitely where that comes from, and the mentality behind it too. Some people find it to be ignorant, but there's meanings behind everything if you look hard enough. But yeah, that's what I got for you today. I just thought that was a really interesting tidbit. There's so many fun Easter eggs that we are going to be uncovering in the days and weeks. But yeah, Kendrick Lamar is bridging the generational gaps with this new project, and I'm going to have way more to say about it when we record on our podcast, Beats, Brews, and Points of View podcast. You can go check out our YouTube channel, same name. We have a lot of content up there already. We're getting ready to record in a few days here. So yeah, that's what I got for you today. Now it is time to put on a little bit of Hi Isaac here and get to chilling and listening to some music as the sun goes down. But I will catch you guys next time. Peace. Peace.